The Legacy shopping district is missing something. Top quality merchandise from another dimension, and I, Avomance, are going to be the one to bring it to you in this episode. Don't you go anywhere. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to another episode from me, Avomance, on the Legacy SMP server. Today, we're going to carry on what we didn't quite finish last week. We are going to make it totally unnecessary for any of these guys on the Legacy server to go into the Nether. We are the Nether Services Company. We are going to be able to provide all things Nether. They're not going to need to go into the Nether unless they want to go into the Nether. Obviously, we're not blocking it up. Oh, that's an idea. Maybe we should barricade the Nether so no one can get in except for me. Maybe I can hire a friendly set of creepers or something to block it off and bar it. Or maybe I can just make all the pigmen not like anybody but me. That would be quite a use. Is that a wandering con man behind me again? They do not learn. I'll go and sort him out in a minute. Maybe I can get a third dead. That'd be brilliant. But we first off need to make sure we've got all the stuffs. And I have done quite a lot of stuffing since I last saw you. I'm just going to take care of this wandering tradesman because he... Oh, you. Oi. Yeah, you. See, over here, look. Do they look familiar to you? Do they? This tree's in the way. Do they look familiar to you? Here, over here. There's no point hiding. There's no point hiding. Here, look. Here. Do they look familiar? They look like anybody you recognise? No? Yes? Maybe? Right, I'm going to take care of your llamas, and then I'm going to take care of you. No, in fact, you know what? I'm going to just take care of you. There we go. And we got another head. And you can spit as much as you want. I'm having you as well. Yes. Yeah, come on. I'm sorry, llama, but I could do with the leads, frankly. So it's an extra 2 leads. Did I get another head? Yes, I got another head. Let's pop that other head. I'm going to pop the other head there. Get a bit of a collection of those. That's a little bit scary. I feel like a murderer. But in here, you can... Oh, what on earth is that? I'm confused. From B pasta chim. I'm going to come back and I'm going to look at that in just a moment, because the first thing you'll notice that I've started to take stuff out. Let's get rid of this and this because they are no longer required because they're empty. But down here, we've opened this up. I've got a little bit more nether walk around down here. But open it, we've got this very fine, very, very fine inventory system. This is not automated inventory, not at the moment, but I might automate it in the future. I don't know, but I've got plenty of these chests that are going to hold most of the stuffs that I'm going to need. So look, like cobblestone and cobblestone craft. So that's anything you can craft out of cobblestone. Makes sense, right? Stone craft, gravel, stone brick, blah, 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 blah. There you go. That kind of stuff. So it's quite nice. And it's going to make this thing up here look a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more house-like, because at the minute it's just a bit of a blooming mess. So, and I can't be having that. Now, before we crack on, I'm just going to investigate this. So this is from B Pasta Chim. So I'm assuming this is the book that he read out in one of these recent videos. So I may not read the entire thing, but I might have a crack and see if we can't make a story out of it. But go and see Chim's video. Link is in the description below for Chim's channel, and he will certainly give you the entirety of that book. So let's have a little read. If you're sitting comfortably, I will begin. In the beginning, there were only flowers and bees, a most intricate landscape of lush green grasses and honey, where peace and harmony prospered, and there were innocent bees free to roam. This place was known as the Garden of Eden. However, shortly after its creation, it changed. One day, as the bees were flying gently from flower to flower, collecting pollen, the sky above the Garden of Eden opened up. Through this hole in the sky, a giant bear was thrust forward and began hurtling towards the ground. Upon impact, the lush green grass immediately became darker, but the honey remained. This was now known as the Umbra Realm. A few bees flew over the small crater left by the impact of the bear. They gasped when they laid eyes upon the creature, as amidst their beautiful Garden of Eden lay the wounded and unconscious body of their creator, the great Ursus Growlfang. To the bees, the existence of this almighty creator was universally accepted, but talk of his existence was rather sparse. The days went by, and even so the bees tended to Galfang. His damaged body still laying where he landed. Unable to wake him, the bees convened, and after much deliberation decided to treat Growlfang's wounds with their sacred honey. Much to their surprise, the remedy worked and Growlfang began to move and his wounds began to heal. Over the last couple of days the bees continued these treatments, and then on the 7th day Growlfang arose. Growlfang walked to the top of a large hill overlooking a darkened landscape. From here he looked and forth, called all the bees. The bees came from far and wide, flying over his newly darkened landscape was still covered in beauty. Flowers as far as the eyes could see, and rivers of honey that flowed with the most peaceful sound. It was here that the great Ursus Growlfang told his story. That day the bees learned the truth. They learned about how Growlfang never intended to set foot in the Garden of Eden, how he knew it would tarnish the beautiful place forever. They learned about his adversary, Saint Eldritch, who was an accidental deity created as a byproduct during the creation of the Garden of Eden. The bees learned that Growlfang and Saint Eldritch had been at war for centuries, and that recently Saint Eldritch learned of the Garden of Eden. They learned that Saint Eldritch had developed a way to interact with the garden, and during a fight opened a rift and threw Growlfang inside. Curious to Growlfang though were these healing properties of the honey. Over the next few decades, Growlfang harnessed the power of the honey and not only matched his prior levels of his strength and power, but was able to exceed them. With his new found power, Growlfang worked alongside the bees in creating an even more beautiful Umbra realm. Cities began to rise, the bee population began to grow far beyond their previous numbers, and prosperity was immense. These were the golden years in the Umbra realm, a time at which the great Ursus Growlfang created an immeasurable amount of good. Growlfang was proud, but his feeling wouldn't last. Despite his best efforts to conceal his place from Saint Eldritch, Growlfang's opposer still found out about it. Now unable to reach the Umbra realm directly, as well as lacking enough power to attack Growlfang, Saint Eldritch used the considerable power that he still possessed to corrupt the minds of the bees in the Umbra realm. Over time, he was able to corrupt them all, and in one final act of evil, he banished the bees from the Umbra realm and sent them to the mortal realm known as Earth. In this mortal realm, the bees continued to produce honey and behaved the same as they did in the Umbra realm, but had no memory or recollection of anything that happened there. For Growlfang, this act of corruption by Saint Eldritch effectively created a ban on the honey in the Umbra realm. While Growlfang still wielded enough power to create new life in the Umbra realm, which he did, he was unable to create any new bees. Unsettled by the act of Saint Eldritch, Growlfang began to panic. As decades went by, the Umbra realm's supply of honey began to diminish. With no bees in the Umbra realm to replenish the reserves, Growlfang began to lose power. Realising this, he set out to discover a way by which he could receive honey again and thus boost his power with just enough to bring Saint Eldritch into the Umbra realm for one final battle. One that Growlfang was confident he could win. Setting his master plan into motion, Growlfang developed a way to speak to beings on this earthly realm as well as the spirits around it. He called upon the spirit of a man named Eugene and enlisted his help as his intermediary earthly liaison. Through his partnership, Growlfang and Eugene devised a blueprint through which they could entrust a specific person on Earth to help them attempt their plan, which would sanguinely send honey to the Umbra realm for Growlfang to consume. The blueprint. Eugene conducted thorough research between Earth and the Umbra realm and detected an extreme energy signatures emanating from Earth each time someone dies. Eugene surmised that if enough honey is cultivated, a release of this energy may be sufficient in sending the honey directly from Earth to the Umbra realm. Early divine research indicates promise here. Eugene recently made contact with an earthly creature named Chimney Swift, who was handpicked by Growlfang to begin assisting in this process. Doing so will ensure the restoration of the Umbra realm and will allow Growlfang to vanish Saint Eldritch forever. Well, I'm not going to lie, that was actually a little bit disturbing. There is something really weird going on. I think Chimney Swift might be all wrapped up in it. I wonder if he even knows, or whether or not his mind is being affected by some otherworldly thing. I think I need to keep an eye on that. That is a big worry. But more importantly, I need to go and build something, because obviously that's more important than that. He says, Yeah. Anyway, so I've got all my stuff over at the place. So I'm just going to take my... Go on, get up in the air. There you go. So I'm just going to get myself over there now and start this build because it is long overdue. This is going to mean that anyone on Legacy never needs to go back to the Nether again, and you are welcome for me keeping you safe and sound like that. I bet they all ignore it. I bet they do. But it's worth it. This is going to be... Actually, I'm really looking forward to this build. I'm actually thinking it's going to look kind of cool. So I'm just going to come down and land in the landing zone. Oh, it looks like someone else is building up and around as well. That's brilliant. More people. Who's that? Logic. Brilliant. So we've got a shop coming from Logic that is going to be sandwiched between my two shops. That's going to bring more people in to the Avomance Group. That can only be a good thing. We've got plenty of stuff here. I've got building materials there. I've got stock there. I've got stock there. And I've got more building materials there. We ought to make something that looks pretty cool. We've made a bit of a start, and I can start to see the beginnings of what is in my mind's eye, but we're still a very, very long way away. I just need to go and get stuff for the entrance. Right, so we're going to make an entrance very similar to the one that we had for the other shop by using trapdoors. And why have I got 3 doors? Not a clue. And doors. So we come in there and there, there and there. There, and I think, is it? Nope, that's just it. There. Nope, that is it. Okay, bump, and bump. And then if I come around from the inside, that should be on that block, which I've already placed, and I can test that by taking that out, and that is all good. And I'll put that one back for now, although we are going to replace this floor because that's not what I want on the floor. That's now a secured entrance. What I now need to do is I need to get a little bit more shape. Can you see how it's just not quite right yet? I need to make it ever so slightly. I'm just wandering around thinking about it as I go. Have I got any more steps on me? No, but I do have some walls which might be quite useful. If I pop some walls in, that might start to bring some of the shape that I'm trying to see. If I get that out there, for example. Pop torch on top of that for now. If I put a wall there and a wall there. So I'm just trying to give a bit more of a haphazard shape to this thing, because at the moment it is just a little bit too... It's a little bit too regular, I think, is the problem, and I need it far less regular than this. So I'm going to continue to build this up and build this up a little bit more. If I use some of this, I don't want to use too many... Well, certainly don't want to do that. I don't want to use too many walls because they're not the ideal shape. Let's get rid of that as well. I've got different stone. I also need to change up some of the stone and make certainly the front a little bit more nethery. There's too much cobblestone involved at the moment, so I need to change some of that out, such as that and that there. But all in all, I think we're doing okay-ish. And as soon as I've... So concentration, you know I can't concentrate and build at the same time. So as soon as I've done that a little bit more, I'm going to dome off the cave itself. And then we're going to do something around the cave, which I'm hoping isn't going to look too daft. So I'm going to crack on with that. And hopefully by the end of it, have I got plenty of cobble? Yeah. Hopefully by the end of it, we should have something that looks at least something like what is in my head. Because if I can't get what's in my head out, I need to pull that around a little bit as well, don't I? That is way too up and down. Oh my God, Avomance, that's awful. Right, so come and get this fella out. That needs to come out. That needs to come out. Like that. He's got to come out. He's got to come out. That's coming there, and that's like that. There we go. Right, so I'm going to start to build this one out a little bit further because that's horrible. How's that? Is that better? That's a little bit better, and then I can get a little bit of slabbage in there just to break up those hard edges. There, and not on the top, for goodness sake, man. There and there. And I just need to get some steps. I need to craft some steps too. So we're getting there slowly. So we've begun the structure. I'm building kind of like a nether-gatey type thing around it using purple glass. But for whatever reason up here, I've managed to use magenta stained glass because I am a complete plank. So if I pull that out, that's magenta stained glass. And that's not what I want. I want purple stained glass. So I'm going to have to take the magenta stained glass out. You can see it forms a line across. And what I was going to do is I was just going to put bits of magenta stained glass in to give it a bit of a, you know, like an effect like you do on that type of effort, but it's not quite working out. So I need to do a little bit more on that, and I need to go and get myself more purple stained glass. Otherwise, well, basically it ain't going to work. And I reckon that for the sake of opening day, this fella is good to go. I am going to put more detail on this over time. I think it's still a little bit like a SpongeBob in stone, but I think altogether I'm actually quite happy. I am actually quite happy with it. So let's just have a quick look inside. Obviously we've got a little bit of warp growing on the outside. We've got some fire. I've changed up the rock that goes around the door into some obsidian because I thought that was appropriate. I didn't have enough obsidian, otherwise I would have made this entire thing out of obsidian. Maybe at some point I'll swap that out, but for now I'm going to leave that as chiseled stone. I was also going to do maybe a custom portal with a little bit of jaggedy stone around it, and again in time perhaps I'll do that, but for now I'm happy with the way it is. Inside we have got our wares. You can see we've got various nethery stacks and things like that all over the place, but all in all, it's looking all right. We have got no fewer than 17, yes, 17 different items that you can buy. And with this being the absolute bestest thing. Wither skulls, four diamonds for a wither skull. With the amount of grind you've got to do for a wither skull, that is an absolute bargain. Anybody that says otherwise is a liar. But we've also got nether blocks. We've got the quartz blocks. We've got nether quartz. We've got quartz ore. We've got nether brick. We've got nether rack. We've got magma blocks. We've got blaze rods. We've got magma cream. I know, yeah, I'm just reading them out. I'm having a look at the same time. We've got glowstone dust. We've got glowstone. We've got red nether brick. We've got nether bricks. We've got gravel. We've got nether wart. We've got nether wart blocks. And we have soul sand. There will be other things added because there is a double chest here with Nout in it. We've got, obviously, we can put chest next to that should we choose to, and we've got here 3 individual chests that have got nothing in them as yet. I will find things to augment our store, and I think all told it's come out pretty well. And so another page in the chapter of the Avomance Group in the shopping district. We've got our nether shop, we've got our potion shop. Riches shall be mine. I actually quite like this one. It's really simple. It's just a stone dome with some stuff in it. It's quite happy, dead easy. Brilliant. If you have enjoyed this video, please do remember to slap that like button. It'd be great to know you're enjoying it, and I will keep on making it. Also, if you've not done it already, please do hit that subscribe button. It'd be great to see you in my sub club, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. You take it easy now. Bye.